I went to look up quotes from other writers about where they get their ideas from, and it seems that really they're just annoyed by you asking that question. Hello, welcome to my Writing 101 series, episode 2. This episode is where do you get your ideas? So I'm going to talk a little bit about where we get our ideas and how to maintain your ideas and kind of keep them around as you might want them. For me, some of the places I get my ideas would be just through letting my mind wander a little bit from where I am. Letting myself expand on what else could be happening around me versus what is happening around me. That works really well for me. Being around things that put me in the same mood that I want to generate from whatever I'm working on, that works really well for me. Doing things where you see someone else's creativity, so that could be, you know, listening to music or reading or whatever, you know, whatever other creative output you like to take in. Those kinds of things tend to trigger my thoughts. A lot of people will then sit down and write out an outline. That's not how I work, but I know a lot of people really swear by it, and they know from start to finish what's going to happen in their book when they start, or story or whatever they're working on. So that does not work for me, but if that's what you do at that point, you might start writing down ideas for that outline. Writing down different ideas that you're picking up. They might not be linear at this point. You will make them linear later. Writing down scenes that you can think of, things like that. I tend to not take any notes ahead of time about what I'm going to write because I don't really write like that. I don't actually know what I'm writing before I start writing. Pretty much sit down and just like let myself write. That works for me. I know lots of people that does not work for, but that seems to work pretty well for me, so that's the thing that I like to do. One of the other things you can do is you can pick up things like this. It's a book called The Pocket Muse. This is actually, I believe, the second one. So there are two of them. I had both, but I think I might have loaned out one and never saw it again. But they have various different kinds of things. They have prompts. Sometimes there's just like an image that you can just pick up. I mean, you can read what's on it, but you don't have to. You know, they have little like bursts of thoughts on pages. This works really nicely to kind of trigger things if you're just trying to get in the habit of writing, especially because really you're probably not going to do much with the very first thing you write. You really need to practice. So don't worry if the first thing you write doesn't come out perfect, because it's not going to. And also always remember that editing is one of the most important things when you're writing. So if you don't think you need to edit something, you need to take a few extra days away from it and then look at it again, because there's almost always something to improve on. Especially in a first draft, you need to find ways to improve it. Whether that be cutting things, changing wording, whatever. But you really should be trying to improve your work. You shouldn't just be trying to convince yourself that you write things perfectly. I also have, it's called Now Write, and it's a bunch of exercises that you can do to get yourself writing. It's kind of a way to help you walk your way through learning how to write. I don't know how expensive this was. 14 bucks, it looks like. You can buy books like this, you can borrow books like this, check them at the library, whatever. It doesn't have to cost you money. And then you can learn by reading books. Realistically, if the thought of reading a book to learn how to write bothers you, you probably shouldn't be considering writing too seriously, because reading and writing are really important. You know, rule 1 from the first thing was to read a lot and write a lot. Both are true. You need both. I am going to be posting these on Thursdays in case you hadn't gathered that at this point. Next week I'm going to do where do you start. We're going to talk about starting points, when you start writing, what decisions you need to make before you start writing, things like that. And we will probably talk a little bit about keeping organization with writing beforehand, because if you start it in the middle, you're just going to be lost. See you next week, and I'm also live streaming tomorrow night at 7 p.m. and I have my usual Sunday video, which I get up before 7 p.m. This last week I got it by 1 minute. But I will see you all at those other places, and then I'll see you next week at the same time. Bye!